Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, starring Bill Johnson, Caroline Williams, and Dennis Hopper, and directed by Toby Hooper. Now, I haven't seen this one before, but let's see how this goes. Let's get into it. We start with two asshole hooligans in Texas shooting up signs while on their way to a party and prank call Vanita Brock, aka Stretch, played by Caroline Williams, while she's having a radio show and fucking around with her until she finds a way to hang up on them because she asks twice to hang up, but they say no! And they call again at night to keep fucking with her until they encounter Leatherface, this time played by Bill Johnson, as he pulls a chainsaw. And these characters are very unlikable, including Stretch, who's the protagonist of this movie. And this is a little worse than the original film, in my opinion. Then we stop by their accident and meet Lieutenant Letty Enright, played by Dennis Hopper, as he searches for the chainsaw killer. And he's not relatable either, as he's told to go home. And this opening sequence is obnoxious, and I can't stand the fact that this movie is annoying as hell. Lefty goes to a shop full of chainsaws, and that scene felt very shoddy in a poor kind of way. It's almost like it was filmed in a digitalized way, and the shots were in that scene was painful on my Apple TV, which makes things digital, and it made the movie look absolutely awful. He buys two chainsaws to go after Leatherface, and the next scene, he meets with Stretch with a witness report to play the incident of the night before with the murder of the two asshole hooligans, so Lefty can hear and see if that's enough proof to put Leatherface away. And the problem with that is, how is he going to hear that on the radio? And if he does hear it, meanwhile, people are complaining about hearing about that violent night because they don't want to hear it. And next thing you know, Stretch gets a call from someone we don't know who it is, as she's attacked by Leatherface. And one of the family members who has a crush on Stretch from the radio, and her boss LG, is killed while Stretch is surrounded by Leatherface with no way out. And the scene was pretentious, as it took way too long, to the point it was inappropriate. Stretch is led to believe Leatherface is a good person by talking sense into him, which doesn't make sense because he's a murderer and not a huggable doll. He pretends to kill Stretch when he's trying to save her life, despite the mission was to kill her. And I think that's weird for so many reasons. First of all, this is a horror movie, not a romantic comedy. Second of all, she's going after Leatherface for reasons I don't quite fully understand. And lastly, this is when the movie starts to officially fall apart. Like an idiot, Lefty finds Stretch, and she falls into one of the traps. He goes inside with his two chainsaws while Stretch tries to find Leatherface and hides around as the sequence feels like the climax, which is taking a bit too long for me. Leatherface does eventually find Stretch and keeps her hidden for the longest time. At one point, he puts a mask on with a bloody face on her, as well as a hat, and dances with her, which was pretty fucking random. And he leaves while a dead body rises, which is LG with his face cut off. And I was getting bored at this point. Leatherface and family catches Stretch, and he can't kill her, so the father knocks her out and puts her in a chair for dinner of cannibalism. And the family are just over the top acting like buffoons, which is ridiculous, as she screams, and again, it's getting on my nerves. After Stretch gets knocked out, Lefty comes to the rescue with his two chainsaws and cuts Stretch free and fights with Leatherface while she tries to find a way to get the hell out of there, while she's chased by his brother as Leatherface is cut in the stomach, and he still fights, which feels unrealistic, but hell, he's a murderer. After all, Stretch kills the brother, and Lefty gets Leatherface and his father dead as a climax. It's awful. I'm not gonna lie, it's really fucking awful. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 3.1 out of 10. Easily much worse than the original. And as I don't like the characters, there were times the movie didn't make much sense, and it really got on my nerves as it was boring and inappropriate. And it's just an awful film that didn't need to be made in the first place. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And until next time, it's time to turn on the chainsaw.